Welcome to the Digital Brand Builder Podcast, where we bring you the best growth strategies from the world's experts to help build your business fast. And now, here's your host, Mark Fidelman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Brand Builder Podcast. Today, we've got a very interesting subject. And when I say interesting, I mean good. So I love these hacks and tactics. My guest today, Dolores Hirschman, she's going to be talking about what she does in connecting with people to improve your business. And as part of that, she's going to introduce to this audience, at least to me, something called trust funnels. So very interested in both topics. Dolores, welcome to the show. Can you give us 100 word or less back on yourself?
Yes, thank you, Mark, for having me. And I believe that that ideas can have a positive impact in the world. And I believe that ideas that are properly communicated and properly positioned can grow wings and expand. And that's what I do.
Excellent. So first of all, how did you come up with this concept of, connecting with 5 people a day, every workday for at least 30 days to gain momentum? And what, it's the second part of that question is, what does that look like? What do you mean by connecting with 5 people every day?
Well, I believe that sales is a consequence of relationships. Just that's what it is. And actually, to give you a little bit of background, I am from Argentina. That's where my accent is from. I graduated from business school. And back then in 1996, I'm that old, I wrote a graduating paper called Marketing on the Internet, Relationship Marketing. So if we understand that sales is a consequence of relationships, then the question is, how can we add or have more relationships in our life, in our business, in our network, so we can grow sales? And while in the 1800s, it might have looked like going to more parties or going to more events, today is how can you use technology to do that? And private messenger, Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform is one way to connect with people. So the simple strategy of 5 private messages every single day, which obviously could be translated into 5 phone calls or 5 whatever, but this is to 5 strangers, people who you've never talked to. So you're expanding your network. 5 of this every day as a habit will make your business explode. It's a numbers game.
Okay. But what are you doing when you're connecting with 5 people? Is it on LinkedIn? Is it other places? And what are you telling them?
Yeah. So let me give you an example of what we do, and we do it in LinkedIn, but it can be translated into other platforms. And what we do is we are consistently looking for our ideal clients. Of course, you have to have clarity around who is your ideal client, who's your audience. And once you identify those people, you either just send 5 connections with some kind of wording that will hook their attention, or let's assume that you already have a lot of connections and you just want to deepen and humanly connect, because having a connection is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about adding 5 followers to your LinkedIn. I'm talking about kicking off 5 messenger conversations every day. So what you do is you see them. What does that mean? Is you acknowledge something they're doing. Nothing works better than saying, hey, I read your blog post or your article on XYZ and I laughed, blah, blah, blah. That's just one way to get someone's attention. And it's real. You would have to read some of the material. You can't fake that.
Okay. And so if I'm understanding this correctly, and you could do this research on the internet, but also on LinkedIn, you go look at what they posted or what they commented on. You find some opportunity to connect with them on some personal note, which almost surprisingly nobody does on LinkedIn. Why don't they do that? Because it's hard to research all those people, and it's difficult to get. I mean, it's really not difficult, but it's time consuming. And then you got to craft a message that you think people will respond to. And I know that can be difficult for some people, and a lot of people, and I like it to dating, and I know you do. They don't want to go into the bar not knowing the person and have to approach them.
And maybe get rejected.
Yeah, they're going to get rejected, and they might not their approach might be wrong. They might be seen as, a player. So it's very, there's a fine balance there. And I think the best way I've seen people do this is they do a lot of research around the individual that they're targeting. And then they find something that will trigger them, whether they're involved in a charity or they're involved in some business deal that they feel is, important to them in their career. And that's how they approach it. They just come in with something that individual is going to be triggered by and respond by. But that takes work. So my hats off to you if you're able to do that efficiently.
Well, so it takes work. It's one strategy that can get your business momentum going. It doesn't mean you have to do it every day for the rest of your business life, because as you know, Mark, there are strategies that are kickstarters of your business. And then there's strategies that either phase out or transform or change down the road. So once you have it, let's say that you're a small business and you're just starting, there's a strategy that can get you going and get you moving forward. Once you get that, then you say, okay, how much is this helping my business, and how can I build a system around it? So at Masters in Clarity, I don't do it anymore, but we do it as part of our team. And so I have one person who does it for me, and we work on the language together, and then she runs with it. So whether you do it, you have a team member do it, it's just a business development strategy.
Yep. And it's a good one. It works as long as you don't come across as, these canned messages that you see on LinkedIn.
Correct.
Day out. Oh my God. I just ignore them now. There's so many coming at me.
You still have to have some substance to it. And that's why I don't use bots. I use someone who cares and say, this is what I'm looking for, and this is why I'm looking for this person. Can you engage in a meaningful conversation? That's it.
Okay. So let's say you do that for 30 days, as you suggest. What can most businesses expect after 30 days?
Perfect. Assuming that you're doing it well, not salesy, and with good intention, right? With the intention of building relationships. Then it's a numbers game. Let's say that you're doing 5 a day, 5 days a week. It's 25 a week. Let's say that 25 outreaches a week will yield into, let's say, 50%. So 1250 conversations. And let's say another, 10% close, 40%, 20% close. That would be 2 to 3 clients a week on this strategy alone. If we do a 25 a week, 50% will actually react and end up in some kind of engagement or conversation. And then 10% of that number ends up in a client. It's about 1 to 2 clients a week. Not bad.
Not bad at all. I mean, I'm sure there's more to it than that. I mean, what your offer is, what your pricing.
Of course, how you do the following up, how you close a sale. I mean, there's so many elements to it. But in a rough note, what is if let's assume you have all the puzzle pieces, this strategy with this conservative, and I would say these are pretty much conservative numbers, could yield that result.
What is it you're saying in that intro message? That do you have any tips or tricks for that, just to help people besides what I've said, of course?
Sure. And it's again, we started talking about trust funnels, and trust funnel is building relationships. So if you were to a networking event and you just, I'm going to build from what you said, Mark, you said, find common ground. Find a charity you both share, or find something that that you share in common. So in an in-person networking event, you might say, hey, I love your, shirt. I have the same one, or your bag, whatever. Find a common ground and then get curious about them. Remember that when we build a relationship, if you are initiating this, and same with dating, you want to have the other person be the center of your focus. You want the other person to feel heard, seen, and relevant in that moment, right? So it's not about, hey, I like your shirt. By the way, I have a course I can sell. It's like, hey, find the common ground, whatever that is, and then I would love to learn more about you. It's about them. Then it's about you.
That makes a lot of sense. I I want to now change the focus slightly. So let's say you get them hooked, they respond, but they're not ready to buy. Now, you've got this concept called trust funnels. So let's start talking about trust funnels. What are trust funnels?
So trust funnels is my play on words with the concept of sales funnels. And you and I are on the same boat. We work in this kind of similar space of no marketing, no clients, no business. I don't care how good your product is. If nobody's buying it, you are actually not in business. Are we agreeing with that?
Of course, yeah.
Right? So it's like blood, no blood in the body, you can't live. And so trust funnels is a different way of looking at the practice of getting clients to buy, the sales funnels. And it's simply the shifting the perspective from I need to sell to I need to serve or I need to solve someone's problem. And in order to solve someone's problem, you need to have them first trust you. Let me give you a very simple example. If you are in the middle of, let's say, a park like Disney World, and you see a little child who is lost and is crying, you don't just grab them and take them to an office to be found. You kneel down, you approach gently and kindly, you listen to them, you make them trust you, and then you say, let me get you some help, right? Because that child will not give you their hand unless you push it, right? And that's not the idea. They won't feel safe having you help them, even if your intentions are great. But if you push yourself into that situation, even if you're trying to be a hero, you're going to scare that person. This is a metaphor.
And so tell me about how the trust funnels work, or how you recommend they should work in terms of nurturing people to a sale.
Yeah. So in the trust funnel, the way I teach it, there's 4 specific phases: the attraction phase, the nurturing, the closing, and the retention. And the attraction phase is what we all talk about all day long of, should I do have a website? Should I write a book? Should I do a post? Where should I post? All of the things that basically is, I call them spreading your magic. Like every single time you go out in public with your message, you're spreading your magic. In this moment with you, Mark, I'm spreading my magic. You are being generous in hosting a space for people to share their work. And thank you for that, by the way. So every moment you share your magic, you want to show up from a place of from sharing your work in a generous way, and B, from a place of inviting people to trust what you're saying, to trust what you're sharing. How do you do that? You just show up with that intention, number 1. And 2, you make sure that every moment you are in that space, call it the soapbox, because every moment that you're in public, you're in a soapbox, right? That you are adding value versus asking for anything.
Okay. But I mean, structurally, are you using a CRM system for this? How are you?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So let's say that we use stages, podcasts, conferences to grow your business, right? And that is your soapbox. And that is how people meet you. That's the first date. And so you share your topic, you're in a conversation and you say, you know what, if you want, you can download a free resource. I mean, this is very straightforward. A lot of people do it. I'm not saying anything new. And you say, I have a free resource that you can tap into that will go deeper. So for me, I can say, hey, I can send you my trust funnel, I've infographic, and I have an ebook around it. And so then you use a CRM. I use something called Simplero. It's worked very well for me for the last 7 years. And it's an exchange. I will give you something you value, and you will give me something I value, which is your contact info. And by the way, Mark, there is a sale happening here. It's just the currency used is what I call the T of trust. We're not using dollars or euros or any kind of currency. We're using trust. I'm trusting that what you're going to give me in my inbox has value. And on my end, I'm trusting that you're going to give me information that works. Like the email is not going to be a fake email, so I can send you this information, right? It's an interaction of trust. So when that happens, then the attraction has happened, meaning you attracted someone and now you are in relationship with that person. So let's say it's a CRM, it's through an email list. Let's say that it's a social media relationship. You don't need a CRM. You can invite someone to a private but free group, Facebook group, LinkedIn group, whatever. And so you are now in relationship with that person, and you go into the next phase of the trust funnel, which is the nurturing, which in dating terms would be, let's date. I was speaking at an event the other day, and I said, what everybody wants? And maybe I'll ask you, Mark, what is what everybody wants to happen after a first date that went well, of course?
How should I answer this? Well, it depends on who you are. You want a second date is what you want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's assume that the first date went well for you. I don't know about the other person, but if I had a good first date, all I want is a second date.
Mm-hmm.
And that second date in marketing and in business is when you start dating and you start the nurturing. And it might take a minute or it might take 2 years. I've had people who have been reading my emails for years. Actually, I just got off the call from someone who I've known personally. She's been following my emails for, I think, 5 years. And she's going to enroll in my program right now.
Nice.
So it wasn't a quick close.
Right.
But it was a relationship well built.
Yeah. I'm impressed you're able to nurture them for 5 years. You must have a lot of content that's going out.
I do have content. I commit to content once a week. And I'll tell you a quick story if it's okay. And it's that, and many of us suffer from this, is that you create content and you send it out into the world, let's say an email, right? A newsletter. And then you sit there and said, what a waste of my time. Nobody's reading these things other than my mom. And by the way, I think my mom now stopped reading them. But then years ago, so I'm a mom, I have 4 kids. I always juggle work and kids. And then this is like 6 or 7 years ago, I went to watch my son play lacrosse. And this mom came over to me and she said, I just want you to know that every Thursday I get hope in my inbox. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I love your emails and I look forward to reading them. Oh, and by the way, I don't think I will ever be your client. You're not, I mean, she wasn't my avatar. She just happened to be in my email. But you know what, Mark? That comment, that lady, that day, I still remember it today. And every week that I feel like, what the waste of my time to write another newsletter, I remember her words. And that's why I do it.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. Let's say you've set up the trust funnels. You've got people coming in because you're doing the 5 connections a day method. You've got the trust funnel set up. And is there anything else that you do, let's say towards the bottom of the funnel, to move them into a stage of getting on the phone with you or just signing up with you? Is there anything else that you recommend people do in order to make that happen?
Yeah. So in what we call the dating space, the nurturing, there's different strategies you can implement. Obviously, newsletters is one. Bringing out relevant content is another one. I'm in the middle of a launch right now, so I've put together a whole week of content and opportunities for Ask Me Anything, all for free. So a lot of people are engaging with me right now, and there's a lot of traction. And some people are buying the product that I'm selling, the course that I'm selling, and some others actually have been triggered to say, maybe this is the right time to work with you in my higher level programs. So, giving people opportunities to be with you in one way or another, webinars, again, Facebook group conversations, one-on-one consultations, whatever that may look like. There's so many ways to do this. It's a way for them to continue building that relationship. And then the next thing towards the bottom of that section of the funnel is to make sure that you have options. Because think about it this way. Let's say that you're dating and you go into that first date and you get your second date and you date for a few times. if the option that you tell that person, I really like you, let's get married, that's going to be a very scary jump. There's a few steps before, like, I really like you, we've been going for a few dinners together, why don't we date? Why don't we, we can be boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. And then we'll see what happens. I see this in businesses all the time. They go from first date to dating to marriage, meaning come in, invest $30,000 in my year-long coaching program. Yeah, it may work for sometimes. It definitely works for word of mouth. It's a different kind of lead. But for a lead that you've nurtured from scratch, yeah, we need to date in a lower risk or lower investment level first.
Well, this has all been very good. The one thing, and I like dating analogies for this type of thing too, but the one thing I would just add is you just have to ask. And, for me, the end result doesn't have to be marriage. It could just be a, long-term commitment with somebody.
Yes.
Which is, as a customer, they're usually short-term commitments, but
yes.
Sometimes they're long-term commitments.
Yeah.
And you just have to ask, and you have to ask in a way that has worked in the past. So I kind of just reverse engineer it. What has worked to bring on clients in the past, or what are my competitors doing to bring on clients? And then I just build that into the bottom of the funnel in order to get them across the finish line. And that's typically what works. But I mean, if you're a small business, they got to like you, like Dolores. They got to like Dolores. They got to like Mark. You got to like the person at the top of the food chain in terms of the business. If it's a larger business, they just got to like what the company represents and the value proposition. It's much more of a business value proposition than it is a personal proposition. I've noticed that most people, when they sign on, we're kind of a smaller business, but still have more than one person. They still look at me as, okay, this is why I'm signing up. We believe Mark can help us to the next level. So we're going to sign on with his agency. And I think that's true till you get to about 25, maybe 30 people. And then the perception in the client's mind tends to shift from personal to more of a business value proposition. And that's what you got to put in front of people at that point. And you got to know that that's occurring, and you got to know what to do once you're there. So Dolores, we're at the end, and at the end of every episode, I like to ask two final questions. So the first one, which you've already mentioned them, but the first one is, what is the hottest digital marketing technology that you recommend?
Yeah, I would say Simplero. I don't know if it's the hottest, but it's definitely the most that I recommend. It's the one that has actually helped me build capacity. Is the one that helped me go past the first 6 figures, the second 6 figures without our team, and now that I'm closer to the 7 figures, it's still going strong.
And Simplero lets you send emails, and you say host online content and create products. So is it more a CRM or more of a marketing automation system?
It's both, because it allows you to send emails and track leads. It also allows you for all the automations of the marketing, and then it's an LMS with learning management system with all of the online content. And now they actually added more features, and now you can. Some of my clients, the smaller companies that I work with, they build their whole websites in there and landing pages.
Okay.
So it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And the second question I have is, who is the most influential person in marketing today?
Yeah. So I love Stu. I've been a student of Stu for years. I met Pedro Adao recently, and he's doing some great work. I'm a partner of Pete Vargas. I don't know if you know that name.
No, I don't.
He's the one behind a lot of, how TNC is happening right now, traffic and conversion. Mm-hmm. And I'm a speaker there tomorrow. Okay. And
online, of course, right?
Online, yes, of course. And so if you see the pivot that they're doing to online conference, the person that is advising in that is Pete Vargas, who is the CEO of Advance Your Reach, because he's the first one that pivoted his in-person 1,000 people event to online back in April when this whole thing started. All
right. So Dolores, we're going to wrap things up. Now, what I want you guys to do, if any or part of this resonated with you, is she has got an ebook that you could download at, and this is in the show notes, www.we.mastersinclarity.com/standout-podcast. No, that was a mouthful, I know, but you can go and look at the show notes and just click on it there. All right, Dolores, with that, wonderful having you on the show, and thanks for your hacks and tactics.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark.